radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. How you doing? It's Monday. That's right, Monday, March 25th, 2019. 84 days into the new year, just 281 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, it's Monday. All right. What a week we've got lined up here on Fade to Black. And tonight's very special guest, Billy Carson, is here to start off. Are you ready? Start off his 4-part series on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And tonight is night 1. So for the next 4 consecutive Monday nights, Billy Carson is here. Tonight's part 1, and we are going to start with the history. Okay? The history of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I cannot wait. Is it Thoth? Or Thoth, or Thoth, for that matter. What is it? You know, we'll kick things off in Twitter with that question. I say Thoth, but I hear Thoth. I've heard Thoth. I've heard Thoth. What is it? Yeah, let's go with Thoth. All right, so that is tonight. Tomorrow night, Anomaly is here. Now, he's back to talk about his experience with fake news that happened last week and the mass media. He's got a couple of videos up about it, and we'll discuss all of that tomorrow night. But when you go out and you have a fan base, a listenership, a viewership like Anomaly has, you know, it's big. And you are going to be pigeonholed, right? And you would think that that is the case, which is okay, right? But be correct about it. And he got mislabeled. Yeah. And all of the big media picked up on the story and his tweet. And it's pretty amazing, because he's out there speaking about this, and then he turns out to be, I'm going to use the word victim. He was a victim, all right? Crazy what he went through. And we are going to talk about all of that tomorrow night. And I think that with all of us right now, and I'm going to talk more about this in just a minute, the fake news, fake media, social networks, and the mechanism that has been built that we use today is something that we really need to figure out. We've got to tame this beast. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute, because look what happened today as well. Apple is now in the streaming business. Holy crap. As if we didn't have enough, right? Enough. Think about that. Okay, so that is everything that we are going to talk about tomorrow night. Wednesday night, it is John Greenwald. He is here to announce his new book. It is called Inside the Black Vault. And we've got a lot of stories to talk about with John on Wednesday night when it comes to what is going on with this crazy UFO world and community of ours. And the book is Inside the Black Vault, which I do have. It is pretty dang good. So there you go. John Greenwald is here on Wednesday night. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube, everything is Jimmy Church or Fade to Black. And you can follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio, right? On JChurchRadio. Now, the sandbox is hashtag F2B. If you have any questions or comments for myself or any guests that we have on the show, please use hashtag F2BQ. That's F, the number 2, BQ. All right. Now, I'm going to get to some breaking news. And the amount of breaking news that has hit this country in the last 72 hours has been extraordinary. Extraordinary. And we can even back up further than that. Get into Wednesday and Thursday of last week. Crazy, crazy news weekend. Thankfully, we had the weekend off this weekend. And we did a lot of yard work. We had a dinner party. I'll talk about that more in a minute over at the house last night. And, trying to disconnect. And luckily, doing all of the planting and yard work that we did and moving gravel around and just oh man, kept me off of the internet. And it was just thankful that that was the weekend that we had, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, and whew, man. Okay, so now the news that went through today, we all woke up to the news that attorney Michael Avenatti was arrested in New York today, and now it appears that he's going to be released on $300,000 bond. Avenatti, who is represented today by 2 federal defenders, was not asked to enter a plea, and he did not do so. When the judge asked Avenatti today if he understood the charges against him, he replied, "I do, Your Honor." He was ordered to give up his passport and cease contact with an unnamed witness. Avenatti will only be allowed to travel to New York and California. Also today, attorney Mark Garagos, and this is no joke, he is the unnamed co-conspirator in the Avenatti criminal complaint. He is charged, Avenatti is charged with attempting to extort Nike for $20 million and wire and bank fraud. And all of this started just a few days ago on the 19th. And then he had reached out to Nike, and everything after that point was recorded. And some of the transcripts have been released by the Southern District of New York, and it's pretty frightening. He made a statement today, Avenatti, with the general saying, okay, I will be fully vindicated. Everything's going to be fine once all the, the work. Well, okay. All right. We still run with, in this country, innocent until proven guilty. But those tapes and what was said, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. All right. Who would have thought, right? It's pretty crazy. Michael Cohen, now Avenatti. Whew. Just pretty crazy. Finding somebody with ethics today and integrity to work with, it's the hardest thing to do. It is the hardest thing. Everybody's so messed up. All right. I've actually got more to say about this in just a minute. And, of course, The Mueller report was released last week. No sense in discussing that any further. In that, it's been discussed. I just want to read this thing and figure out what's going on. I think like everybody else does. But that was released. So we can now put all of that behind us. We got to figure out a way to move forward. Today, British lawmakers have temporarily seized control of the Brexit process from Prime Minister Theresa May. Didn't see this one coming, did you? This is a very rare move that puts lawmakers in the driving seat. The MPs defied the government today with a vote 329 to 302 in favor of an amendment giving them control of Parliament's agenda. Yeah, and the 29th is coming up. Is my prediction going to be true? Will it come to pass? In that I just don't see the UK leaving the EU. I just don't see it happening. I don't. Okay, that's just me. I don't understand UK politics. I don't understand how it works. I really don't. I think just because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's not a system that doesn't work. It looks like it does. And sometimes I wish Congress or the Senate over here yelled at each other and acted a little bit more human. Because, right, today's everybody's yelling, right? All right. Don't forget to download the Surfer Music Streaming app. It is available free for download. Just go to the banners at jimmychurchradio.com. That's all you got to do. Click on it, go and download it, and then start enjoying music on your cell phone. And that's it, or your tablet, or whatever. It's right. Just get the Surfer Music Streaming app. It is so super easy, super fun, super safe. You're not giving up anything. Your email, nothing. All you got to do is download it. It's really that simple. All right, now I've got to, let's get this out of the way really quick. Contact in the Desert is our next conference coming up May 31st through June 3rd in Indian Wells, Palm Springs, California, at the Renaissance Indian Wells Resort and Spa. Tickets and info are over at contactinthedesert.com. And then coming up right after that, it's our 2019 Soul Tech Conference over the July 4th weekend at the Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado. You can sign up for tickets and info at soultechgathering.com. Just click on the banners at jimmychurchradio.com. That's all you got to do. Accommodations, food, speakers, full conference schedule. Everything is laid out right there at soultechgathering.com. Of course, Billy Carson, our guest tonight, will be one of our featured speakers. I look forward to that. We've got a bunch of really cool things that we're going to be doing this year, and one of them is called Fader X. That's right. It's our version of a blank talk. I can't say it because we'll get sued, but because they copywrote it. So anyway, a blank talk, right? A blank talk, a blank X talk. Well, that's ours. It's called Fader X. And we're going to, get a bunch of speakers up there and give them 15 minutes to bring their best. Soul Tech 2.0. Click on the banners over at jimmychurchradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. It is just $2 per month. We have over 1,000 archive shows right there. $2 per month. Beautiful apps, everything that you need. Everything is updated, upgraded. Everything that you need is right there. Just $2 per month. All right. And when you're over at jimmychurchradio.com, become a Fadernaut. Become an official Fadernaut in our membership section. That's all you got to do. You can go from free all the way to full tilt boogie game changer. Become a game changer. Get an autographed shirt, autographed hat, and those hats, those uber cool fade to black hats, are only available to game changers. That's it. You can't purchase them. We don't give them away. There's only one place to get them, and that is in our membership section when you become a game changer. So do it today. Help support the show. Become a Fadernaut in our membership section over at jimmychurchradio.com. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, Elton John. is 72. You know, and I didn't know it was his birthday today. I was did a bunch of driving over the weekend, you know, to and fro to Home Depot and Lowe's, and getting all that yard work done. And it was Elton John on the radio all weekend, and that's always an indicator. Every time I got in the car, Rocket Man, I was like, oh, what's going on? It's because it's his birthday today. That's why. 72 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is Aretha Franklin, 1942 to 2018, died at the age of 76. Of course, she was the queen of soul, right? Hits like You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman and Respect. She won more than 15 Grammy Awards, one of which was due to selling 75 million records. Happy birthday, Aretha Franklin. She was really good in the Blues Brothers, by the way. Think about how long ago that was. Aretha Franklin. On this day in history, OTD, speaking of Chicago, 1967. Martin Luther King leads a march against the Vietnam War in Chicago. And then he was assassinated nearly exactly a year later in April. Yeah, pretty crazy. 1967. Fader fact. And I was just talking to Rita about this before the show, and even she was stopped in her tracks when you think about the enormity of this Fader fact. About 6 centuries ago, less than, nobody outside of the Americas knew what a potato was. Think about that. Nobody. Romans didn't eat potatoes. Greeks didn't eat potatoes. Nobody in Asia ate potatoes. Nobody ate potatoes because nobody knew what they were. You had to be here in the Americas to know what a potato was. Think about that. I mean, to go all the way up to the year 1500, that's like yesterday. Nobody knew what a potato was. That's insane to me. The French didn't have French fries. They didn't. Think about that. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. All right, tonight, Billy Carson is here. Starts his 4-part series on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And tonight we're going to start off with the history, okay? And a complete show tonight on this. Tomorrow night, Anomaly, he is back to talk about his experience with fake news and the mass media. Wednesday night, John Greenwald announces his new book, Inside the Black Vault, and we're going to go through all of the headlines and his latest research and document run. That will be Wednesday night. Thursday's another Fader night with open lines all night long. Now, I just talked about my dinner party, or our dinner party that we had over at the house. And this was last night. And you know what we did serve for dessert? With dessert? River Moon Coffee, Fade to Black blend. Yes, we did. I did. Fade to Black blend. F2B blend is the promo code. We'll get you 15% off of your order today. All right. I'm just goofing around. But it was all family last night. Love it when we do that. And it was an Italian feast, just in case you were wondering. We had meatballs and spaghetti, marinara sauce, and we had a really, really good bruschetta to kick things off. And what else did we start with? Rita, what did we start with last night? Pizza. Yeah. Amazing time last night. And then, finished it off with a cheesecake and coffee. Really good. And I got to taste a really good beer last night, a coffee beer by Smog City. I'm not plugging them. I have no relationship to them, but man, that's some really good beer. Smog City coffee. Yeah, really good, really dark, really good. But one of the things that we talked about last night over dinner was how much the world has become so polarized, in that you just can't talk to anybody without a fight, right? A fight starts, an argument starts. Nobody listens, right? That was discussed last night. Nobody wants to listen anymore to what you have to say. They don't, right? Everybody is right and everybody else is wrong, and how mass media and social networks are to blame. And here's the thing. I didn't bring it up. You would think that I brought it up. I know what's going through your mind right now, that I instigated this conversation, but it wasn't me. It was not, and it was a very intelligent conversation, but it got pretty heated in a discussion about that very subject that you can't talk and communicate without a fight. It was like it got, we toned it down and brought it back to center, but that went down last night with my family, mi familia, and then this morning. I woke up, I was out on our patio, and I was drinking coffee, River Moon coffee to be exact, and I get a phone call. Actually, I think I might have made the phone call, or did. I can't remember, it doesn't matter. I was reaching out to somebody via text when the phone, that person called me. Okay, I got it, I remember now. But anyway, I got a phone call from an author. And someone completely outside of our community, by the way, okay? Big author. But we were talking about her new book, and it's about to be released. And the subject matter on it is very, very heavy. And I can't get into all of that now, but there's really no point to it. But there's a very interesting ending to the book, and well, you know what? I'll come back to that, because that's not what's important here. What is important is what she said right before we hung up. And she said that society today is so divided that nobody can talk to each other anymore without creating an argument and starting a fight. And then she went on to say that everybody is right and everybody is wrong at the same time. And I'm sitting there going, what? Right? And that it is caused by the mass media and social networks. Crazy, right? Not really. But after I hung up the phone, then Rita and I, after I have this conversation, and after last night, then Rita and I start up the same conversation. It's everybody knows what's going on right now. You see, we know that this is happening with our community because we hang out on social media. We watch this. Things have gotten way out of hand, and we know that. But it's not just us. It's everyone all over the planet. And they are talking about it, too. Everybody recognizes this. It's totally nuts. It's gotten out of control. You have to actually think before you speak now, before you post, before you tweet. Say the right thing or say the wrong thing. It doesn't matter. And you're guaranteed to start a fire. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? Will the media and the tech giants change their ways? Probably not. They will never accept the responsibility for their actions. And today, Apple announced their new streaming service and another 1 million channels and apps for us to view in an already crowded media landscape. If you think about how much is available right now, right? You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have YouTube occupying huge chunks of your day. Then you add all of the news programming that's out there. Then combine all of that with all of the online streaming services, plus cable, plus satellite, all being viewed 24/7 while people walk, talk, while they're driving, while they sit, while they wait, while they eat, while they fly, right? While they sleep. That's right. It's a perfect mind control game, and we are playing it, and we know it, and nobody seems to care. It snuck up on us and was executed with extreme precision. And here's the final blow. And this is where I need you to hear every word that I say. The real alternative is to stop texting, is to stop posting online, is to stop talking. That'll stop the fighting, won't it? Sure, it sounds great. But then we have a society of mindless people walking around in silence. And when that happens, the man has won. Think about it. And that's where we are today. And I know that this social media experiment and the fact that we have literally thousands of channels of live programming beaming at us at every second of the day, right? It is impossible. It is absolutely impossible to watch it all. Watch a small fraction of it, right? Think about that. The control is there. And we never thought that this day would come. So it's going to run its cycle. And we'll accept the damages that happen to us as a society, as a world, as an earth, right? And we'll figure it out. But in the end, what's the solution? What's the solution? And the solution is the man will have won. It's crazy. And we've done it to ourselves. Everybody recognizes it. Everybody sees what's going on. It doesn't matter who you are. Today, I saw a video posted of Alex Jones in a restaurant. Now, I don't know what led up to it. I certainly saw how it ended. But it's Alex Jones walking around a family restaurant in Texas, taping with his cell phone, yelling at people and starting fights and people fighting back. How did we get to that? I mean, whoa. You know, and it's like crazy town. And it's everywhere. And it doesn't matter what the subject is. It just doesn't matter anymore. Rita and I, last night and continued on this morning with our family, and Rita and I were talking today. It doesn't matter where you point, what direction, what demographic, what person, what age, what the conversation is about. It doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter. Everybody is doing this. It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. Well, tonight, it's Billy Carson. We're going to do 4 straight Mondays with Billy. 4. And I'll be right back with our guest, Billy Carson. We will be discussing tonight and the next 3 Mondays, plus tonight, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Tonight, it is the history. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find Fast Start Diet on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code TALK to get 10% off your first box. And as a special bonus, Fast Start will include their #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. This is Jimmy Church. And whatever your diet plans are, do what I did. Go to faststartdiet.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Compendium, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Billy Carson is here. We've got a 4-part series. I'll get to that in just a second. Tomorrow night, Anomaly is back. We're going to talk about the mass media and his experience with fake news that went down last week. It's an extraordinary story. Wednesday night, John Greenwald. His new book is called Inside the Black Vault, and we're going to go through all of his recent research and discuss the book that is getting ready to be released. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. You can follow Billy at Forbidden Knowledge. That's with the number 4 at the beginning of it. Forbidden Knowledge. You can follow him right there on Twitter. All right. This is part 1 tonight of our 4-part series with Billy on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And it's going to broadcast over the next 4 consecutive Monday nights. Tonight, we will start with the complete history of the tablets. Then next week, part 2 will be What Are the Halls of Amenti? Part 3 will be Time is an Illusion. And part 4, the Emerald Tablets and the Fractal Holographic Universe. The next 4 straight weeks is all Billy. Billy is the founder of Forbidden Knowledge, the author of the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and I did write the foreword to the book, and you can get it now, okay? You can order the book now, and it was such an honor to be able to write the foreword to this amazing book. And he is also the expert host on Deep Space. It's a new original streaming series by Gaia Carson's Forbidden Knowledge has over 2 million followers and subscribers throughout social media. He has combined forces with top anomaly hunters in the world to form the United Family of Anomaly Hunters, the UFAH. Their mission is to provide evidence of past and present life on Earth and other celestial bodies inside our solar system. And he is also the CEO of First Class Space Agency based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he is are you ready? The founder of Pantheon Elite Records, contributor to Thrive Global, and is a registered international journalist. His website, of course, is forbiddenknowledge.com. I'd like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Mr. Billy Carson. Billy.
Hey, Jimmy. I'm so happy you have me on here, man.
Are you glad too?
Oh, I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm excited.
Exactly. Exactly. What was the thing that we used to do when we were kids? Stomp your hands and clap your feet if you're glad, right? What was that?
Yeah, I remember it was something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that. I can't remember.
That was a while back.
But stomp your hands and clap your feet, Billy. You're back on the show, and it's great to have you here. And before we get started, because we've got a full month in front of us of shows that we have scheduled, and it's going to be a great presentation and a great series. But before we get there, I was watching you on social media over the last couple of weeks, and it seems that you are as alarmed as I am about the social interactions that people are having and the effect that the media and social networks are starting to have on the world. It's not just the United States, it's the world. And what do you think is going on with that? It seems kind of sudden. You know, social media has only been around, if we think about, if we just go with Facebook, 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. And in 10 short years, we've seen the decline of the Western civilization, haven't we?
Absolutely. I mean, social media is almost like what Amazon is doing to brick and mortar department stores, you know? I mean, it's literally just taking down so many veils, and this is why they're seeking to censor it and trying to suppress information. You know, as you can see, you know, there's some video channels, I don't want to mention their name, that are trying to take down all the conspiracy type videos. And there's a lot of keywords on different social media networks now that if you type them in the caption, they'll be censored, and that post will either not go up or the post will go up, but the caption will be blank. It will be blanked out. You know, so because they're starting to realize that social media gives everyone the ability to transmit information instantaneously around the world. And because we have these mobile devices in our hands, we're able to receive this information, bypassing their mainstream oligarchical brainwashing, you know, programming that they've got on these TV networks. So it's been a tool and for, you know, to help awaken the masses. But at the same time, they're trying to tap into it themselves to use it to still manipulate consciousness. And also now they're trying to suppress and oppress, you know, some of the information.
Do you think that that was the grand plan all along? You know, or was it all an accident? Do you think that Silicon Valley and DARPA and Sandia Labs and the NSA and the CIA, that they knew the effects of social media and all of this was engineered?
I think that they knew the effects. I thought that I believe that they thought it would go in a completely just totally ratchet direction, you know, where it didn't have any consciousness aspect to it at all. I don't think they anticipated the conscious community. I think it was supposed to be another brain altering MK Ultra type of you know, frequency that's just going out to help program people into being low vibrational entities on this planet, and also for them to collect a lot of data on us that they otherwise would have had a hard time trying to collect. All of our shopping methods, where we travel, who we talk to, what we say, what we're saying, and what our intentions are, and everything else, so they can create all these predictive type of programming software, as well as software that can detect or anticipate things that we may or might do, and of course just collect all of the information they could possibly, and also spy on us as well through cameras and everything else. But they didn't anticipate the conscious aspect of it, exploding the way it has over the last couple of years.
One of the things, and I don't want to sound like an old man, I really don't, but I'm not that old. And it seems like just yesterday, and if we think about 1995 to now, that is the internet age. Okay, there wasn't anything before 1995. So It's only 20 years ago. But I remember plain as day, there was no way that you and your friends were going to hang out inside of your house during the day and just watch TV. That didn't happen. Our parents said, go outside and play. Right? Get out of the house. And today, your infant, your newborn, the first gift that they get is a tablet, right? And the programming starts then. And we've got to figure out a way. And I don't want to sound like some old man, and I don't want to deprive kids of technology because I love it. You know, I get it, and I didn't have this kind of stuff when I was a kid. But we were raised differently, and I don't want to sound like my parents because I hated hearing that when I was a kid. But it's really the truth. Go outside and play. We couldn't stay inside the house and do nothing, right? Our parents didn't put up with that.
You had to go outside. As a matter of fact, the biggest punishment you can get was to be told that you could not go outside.
Was to go to your room, and you hated that. You know, now, I mean, you want to be sent to your room because you can go and just surf the internet and play video games all day long.
Right, exactly. Digital crack cocaine.
Yeah. I don't know how we got here. So here's the point that we need to try to figure out is what do we do about it? That's the thing. What do we do?
We've got to train families and instill in the parents that there must be balance. You must have yin and yang. You have to have balance. You can't allow the TV and video games to babysit your child. You know, you dump them off at school for 6 hours, then they come home, and then the rest of the day they're babysat by video games and TV. There's got to be some balance put back into the family where kids are, you know, spending time with their parents. Their phones and technology is down or turned off, and they're spending time outside in nature, spending time outside, whether it's, you know, gardening or playing in the bushes, anything outside, sports, activities. I got my kids all in sports, and that's what kept them extremely busy, just to add some balance back to the family life again.
I have an answer. Okay, I have an answer. I think every cell phone, not an app, embedded in the BIOS on the cell phone until you're 18 years old. Until you're 18, 1 hour a day.
That's good.
That's it. 1 hour a day. However you want to use it, right? You want to text, you want to read your email, you want to go and waste your minutes on surfing or watching YouTube video, whatever it is, right? Instagram, you get 1 hour a day. After that, 1 hour, 60 minutes, cell phone shuts off. That's it. Unless you're going to make a phone call.
Right.
Or take a phone call. But that's it. Just that's it. And when you turn 18, it's like, you know, it's being old enough to vote. You get you get full cell phone privileges. But until then, you've got to get your education. You got to learn what the world is about.
Yeah.
You know, so that to me. But that's what I would do. I should be president. I should be president. Oh, man. I got the adult vote. I think I could lock that down. But and before we get to the Emerald Tablets, there's one other aspect to this. Now that we've got ourselves buried up to our neck, you are a social media and internet guru. You understand it. You understand the power of it. You know how to share knowledge and how to utilize the tools that are in front of you with technology. But we've got ourselves painted into a corner here now. And you know that the media is not going to accept responsibility for what they've done. You know that, Facebook and Zuckerberg are not going to accept the responsibility for the way that they've handled all of this. So if it's up to us, and the choices would be to stop communicating, so we stop fighting and we stop trolling, we do all of this, and then suddenly we're not talking. Now, we may resolve the social media psychological issues that we're going through, but now we've got a society that doesn't talk. And if that happens, then the man has really won, right? I mean, I don't know what to do, man.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's such a delicate balance between, the two worlds, and the conquer and divide tactics are always in place nonstop, keeping us all divided and separated, and worrying about race, and worrying about, geographical areas and all this kind of stuff, and worrying about the shape of the planet, So, and it just keeps us consistently divided, so that we're fighting each other instead of really fighting the enemy, who are the ruling oligarchs, that are the elites, that are really the 13 families that are running 7.5 billion people. Which is why we do what we do. We just keep trying to find a way to help raise consciousness on this planet. And I know it's one of those things where, we're planting seeds for trees that we may never sit in the shade of. And these types of things take time.
Yeah, that's right. And we are doing that with things like Soul Tech, right, mm-hmm. where we are able to present and to teach, and you'll be, of course, teaching. And there's another thing, speaking of Soul Tech, is TEDx and TED Talks is a way to, again, share knowledge with the masses, and it's a technique that and you certainly do this very effectively in your presentations and through music and multimedia, where you're getting the message out. And at Soul Tech this year, we're going to be incorporating our version of that. It's called Fader X, where we're going to have the presenters get up and give us their best 15 minutes of a subject. And you're going to be speaking about that too. And don't you think that keeping the attention span short, right, 15 minutes, but bringing your best material forward, it's one of the most effective ways to communicate, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's going to be amazing. I mean, the average person's not going to want to go past 10 to 15 minutes anyway. You start to lose them a little bit. Their minds start to wander, and they may be focusing on something you said before. They could be thinking about where they're going to have dinner. They could start dozing off because they're getting tired or whatever. But 15 powerful, impactful minutes is really, really great. And I'm so excited to be a part of it. I really can't wait to get up there and drop some mind-blowing content on the people.
Well, that's one of the things that you've always done. Forbidden knowledge is about teaching. That's it. That's why it's called Forbidden Knowledge. And your book, the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, is, again, just that. I see it as a tool. It could almost be brought into a curriculum at a school. It is a tool. Yeah. It is a book full of knowledge that is presented that way, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. As a matter of fact, it's ironic you say that. I've had several teachers in one university professor contact me and tell me that they've now started using this information in their curriculum in their classes.
Straight up.
Which is wow. I mean, just wowed me,
Wow. I'm wowed.
Yeah.
See, this is, as we start to get into this, we're going to be covering this. There's so much to discover about the Emerald Tablets that we knew that we couldn't do it in one show. And you suggested to us, let's just go full on. Let's do a series on this. And I just thought it's a great idea because the foreword that I wrote in the book, one of the things that I mentioned in that foreword is just that. Getting information on the Emerald Tablets is hard to do. And everybody that goes on a spiritual journey, no matter what brings them here, eventually, as they're out there researching, you're going to cross the Emerald Tablets, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you sure are. There's no way around it. There's no way to escape it. If you're really digging and you're really seeking knowledge and wisdom and really digging into the research and trying to find out the root of all of this information that's been put forward through religion, through ideologies, through spirituality, even shamanistic concepts and ideas, yogic concepts and ideas, even some of the Vedas and some of the other ancient texts that are already out there, Sumerian tablets and everything else, they all lead back to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I mean, you can't get away from it.
The journey that happens to all of us, you went through that too, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so tell me about, again, because I mentioned this in the foreword in the book, and the reason why I did it, I wanted to, strike at everybody to the point where they go, yep, that's what happened to me, right?
Right.
And I'm sure that it happened to you, and that you cross it. And when you find the Emerald Tablets, I know that immediately, because this is what happened to me, a couple of questions will pop into your head. And the first one is, and I want to know if this happened to you, are they real? That's the first thing, right? It's just like, wait a minute, this is too nuts. Are they real? And where are they? That's like the two obvious things, right? Did that happen to you?
Oh, absolutely. That's really literally the first thing. I read the preface, and I was just so blown away by the preface alone. I had to read the preface 4 or 5 times before I even started to read the content, because the preface was so deep and like mysterious. And then I go into the first tablet, and I pause halfway through, and I go, man, I got to find out, what is up? Where did these things come from? What's the deal here? Are they real? I mean, I really started asking myself a lot of questions. And then I started digging and digging and digging, and I really tried to find out, are these tablets real? And to my, pleasant surprise, they are real, and they do exist. And there's versions of them available even at the Cambridge Library in England. So they have been touched by many, many famous people, over the years. And for example, Sir Isaac Newton. Everybody pretty much knows who that guy is.
Right.
He had his hands on the tablets and translated a version of them, and they're sitting at the Cambridge Library in England. I mean, so anybody can go there. Matter of fact, I'm actually headed there myself next summer to actually go to the Cambridge Library and take a look at these records, myself, his version of the record myself.
And then there's probably a third question, and we're going to dive into all of this after the break, everyone. But there's probably a third question. Of course, the first one being, are they real? Second, where are they? And then the third question that hits everybody is, how come I haven't heard of them before? Why isn't everybody on this planet talking about them? Why did I have to go and find them myself? Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that leads you back to the Apocrypha text that has been kept out of the modern day Bible. That text is very vital to the full story, yet the Council of Nicaea and King James decided to omit those additional scriptures from the modern day Bible because they expose a lot of things like ancient astronauts, time travel, portal travel, spaceships, and different types of other technologies and metaphysics and spirituality, and also reincarnation. Because a lot of that content came directly from the Emerald Tablets, of course, they would want to suppress that information from getting out to the general public and keep it as vague and, ambiguous as possible, almost to where nobody can really figure it out, or so few people find out about it that it doesn't have any kind of a real palpable effect on the general population. And I think that's kind of what they've done.
I think that the Emerald Tablets, for anybody that takes the time to read through them, and certainly with your new book will have this effect, but it changes people. It actually changes people. You cannot read them and not be affected by them. Did you go through the same thing? Are these principles that you live by today?
Absolutely. When I went through it the first time, I noticed myself being more mindful of how I try to utilize the law of attraction, how I try to manifest my own reality, how I try to, Thoth talks about seeking the light, and basically, trying to banish darkness. So I found myself being more mindful of right and wrong and trying to seek the path of enlightenment more, and as well as trying to do what he did, was teach. That's, and the more I got into it and the deeper I got into it, the more powerful I began to feel in my own life. I mean, my reality tunnel, I felt like I had more control over it. I felt I had more power surging through my body, just metaphysical power, and that I had a little bit more control over how I could project the law of attraction to bring things into my life. And my life literally almost did a flip upside down, and I just literally started to explode my reality in a positive way, and just like everything that I was looking for, it just started falling right towards me. And I really attribute a lot of that to the teachings from the Emerald Tablet. These are the real, true mystery school teachings here.
Absolutely. And this is a good spot to take a break. When we come back, we're going to discuss and start tonight the complete history of the Emerald Tablets. Our guest tonight is Billy Carson of Forbidden Knowledge. And we're going to be covering this, I want to remind everybody, over the next 4 weeks. Part 2, coming up next Monday, will be What Are the Halls of Amenti? Part 3, a week later, will be Time is an Illusion. And then Part 4 will be the Emerald Tablets and the Fractal Holographic Universe. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight and the next 4 Monday nights, our guest is Billy Carson. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. We'll be back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Introducing the new Surfer Music app. Listen, Fade or not, you know I love my music. This is my go-to for all things notes. The Surfer app is a brand new concept in music listening. Surfer is free, providing unlimited access to thousands of live streaming radio stations. Surfer is an exciting, interactive listening experience. Discovery and surprise are built right in. Surfer is your destination to discover and rediscover great live streaming music. It features high-quality audio streams, free access to music from thousands of live streaming radio stations, unlimited listening, unlimited skipping. You get a music visualizer, and you can also select your favorite channels. Get it at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Surfer Music or click on the Surfer banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied. But you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with, you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers. everybody. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Reclaim your active lifestyle with Angioprim. Angioprim is the original liquid oral chelation supplement. Chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in your veins and arteries that can cause blockages. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. Find out more. Go to angioprim.com. Talk to a trained consultant by calling Angioprim toll-free 877-882-7221.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hey, it's Grace. Can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Billy Carson. Part 1 of our 4-part series on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I've already heard Billy say Thoth. We don't know. Let's get straight to it. Billy. Yes. Okay, so what is it? Is it Thoth? Is it Thoth? Is it Thoth? Is it Toth?
It's all of those. You could say Thoth, Thoth. It's all the same.
I'm going Thoth.
Yeah, Thoth is good.
I'm going Thoth. It feels right. Right. You know, you and I time travel back to ancient Egypt, and we'll have it all wrong, right?
No, right. Well, he's got so many names, you know, so
absolutely
understanding.
And we can't really begin a 4-part series of this ginormity without. We've got to start things off with the real history of the Emerald Tablets, and so let's start there. And I'm really interested in how you're going to kick things off. This is a pretty big moment. So when we start talking about the history of the Emerald Tablets, where are we going to start?
Well, we got to start with the time frame. We're talking 36,000 years ago is when these tablets were written directly by Thoth himself. In other words, he didn't have a scribe. Like normally kings would have a scribe do all the writing and work for them. They would just, talk and they would write. But he wrote these himself 36,000 years ago. And the key number there being 36,000, because when you look into the research that I've done with the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, and not just me, you can look at also some of the work by Robert Schoch and some of the other great people that have been out there doing research in the field. A lot of us have come to the conclusion that the Sphinx is about 36,000 years old. And how we come to that is when you look at the weathering tells a full story of the true age of the Sphinx. And when you look at it, the mainstream is saying about 5,000 to 6,000 years. The weathering initially was making us think, right around the end of the first ice age. You got to remember it's aligned with the constellation of Leo. So if you go back another precessional period before the Ice Age, which makes a little bit more sense, then you find out that there's a extinction event. And then you say, well, one more precessional period back. And now the weathering and the two additional precessional periods back line up at 36,000 years. And all of a sudden it lines directly up with the Emerald Tablets and the fact that Thoth says in the first opening verse that he built the Great Pyramid. So all of a sudden it all aligns. And so it adds a little bit more validity to the fact of what he's talking about in terms of building the Great Pyramid. In my opinion, according to the Sumerian records, he built the Sphinx by order of his dad. And originally it had his face on it. And then later was recarved to be a smaller face, which was the face of his brother's son, not a lion. But, so that's where it really goes. And that's where we start off 36,000 years ago. And we're talking about how did it even get there? Well, we've got a situation where these pyramid priests, about 13 to 1400 years ago, Egypt was in turmoil. And they migrated around the world. And some of them took these tablets over to Mesoamerica. And this is where they were actually discovered. They were discovered near the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico, which is absolutely astounding for them to make it all the way across the ocean like that. And then supposedly to make it all the way back as well. So, and you look at who had their hands on these records. Like I said earlier, Sir Isaac Newton, Philip of Tripoli, the Queen of Sheba. And this is all well-documented people that have had their hand. Roger Bacon was accepted into Oxford University at the age of 13. He was like a genius kid. He was a savant. He was an English philosopher and Franciscan friar, and he basically was also into alchemy and everything else. And he also translated a version of these tablets. And this guy was very highly a scholar.
Why write? What are they constructed of, as opposed to, putting them on stone, or in clay, and then baking the clay, like the Sumerian tablets. Right. Why? What are they actually constructed of? Are they emerald, or are they just green?
Well, I believe that they're probably just green. They resemble the color of emerald, but they're made of some type of alchemical structure that's atomically fixed, so that they actually don't age, they don't rust. They literally can only be destroyed if you physically break them. And in other words, time and erosion have no effect on these tablets, which is absolutely amazing. And there's a very similar type of a marking on the Temple of Osiris in Egypt that I've seen with my own eyes, because I've been there a couple of times. And there's a flower of life that's somehow atomically etched into one of the pillars there. So the fact that this has been done before, and twice, in other words, Thoth's version of the Emerald Tablet.
Are you there?
Same as with this etching in the stone here in Egypt. So it kind of, adds credence to the fact that they had this technology, they had this ability in the ancient past to somehow alter the molecular structure of an object to where it will not decay based off of just weathering, or exposure.
And how many are there?
There's 15 tablets in total. There were two. The last two were just recently released, I believe in like the 1980s. So initially there were only the 13, which had been broken into parts to make it 15 total. But there really are 15 tablets.
And I remember very early on that there were 10 tablets. So how did we get to 13 and now to 15?
Well, they were. They took the 10, and then to make it easier on the reader, I guess, the way that they were put out, they split them up a little bit more. And then the other two were released by who? In my personal opinion, I believe that was the Vatican that finally gave some type of approval. I really believe that the original version of the tablet is probably in the Vatican archive. But whoever is in charge of this Great White Lodge of this wisdom school, which dates all the way back into ancient Chem, which is still active till this very day. They even have a website I believe that somebody gave them the authority to release these last two tablets.
Right, and according to history, the way that the Egyptians laid it out in the Builder's text and other texts, where they go back to the ancient gods of Egypt and they discuss the history. Thoth ruled Egypt for 16,000 years. And at the end of that, so we're going back to around 50,000 BC or so. And then he ruled up to 36,000 BC, which is the period where he chose to write the Emerald Tablets. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes. So he ruled over Egypt for about 14,000. It was actually the land of Chem back then. So how he got there was basically there was a great flood. And this is according to the Emerald Tablet. The opening scene is the fact that this flood is starting to subside and the mountaintops are coming back out, and the people that had hid in the caves and survived were coming out of the caves. And his dad tells him to go with his crew and basically raise, them back to a high level of civilization and bring civilization back to the entire planet. So he gets into his ship with his crew, and they actually take off into the sky until the Earth disappears. So it wasn't a boat like what we know, where they didn't go fishing. They went into space, and then they descend on the land of Chem, where they can see the hairy barbarians beneath them. So there's people underneath them as they descend. And when the door opens up, these barbarians come to attack him and his crew. And Thoth raises a staff and sends out a ray of vibration, stopping them still a stone in the mountain. So he basically has some kind of advanced stun gun 36,000 years ago that he's using to hold these people back without killing them until he can calm them down and explain to them that they were children of the sun and they were here to help teach them and bring them back to a high level of civilization. So this is just an amazing piece of work. I mean, when you read that opening scene right there in the Emerald Tablets, it just blows. It wouldn't, if it doesn't blow somebody away, they don't care about what they're reading.
And so in the land of Chem, which is ancient Egypt, 16,000 years. What did he do as a ruler? Was he an educator? Was he, or was he a king? What did he do for those?
He was both. He was an Atlantean priest king.
Right.
Because at that time, really, Atlantis still ruled the planet. Atlantis was everywhere. A lot of people think it was a ring island in the Atlantic Ocean. But that was probably just a capital location for the planet. Overall, Atlantis was a global civilization ruling every single continent of the planet with different rulers, all related to each other. And Thoth himself ruled over the land of Chem, which is now called Egypt, for those years. And at that time, he was teaching. And that's where the word thought comes from. The word thought comes from Thoth. Also, the land of Chem, which he named, that's where you get chemistry and alchemy come from the land of Chem, which was all, again, taught by Thoth. So his main thing, and he also was responsible for teaching mankind languages and the different languages that we speak. So. And even in developing the hieroglyphs and everything else, it all comes from him. And he was also the master architect of pyramids. So he taught pyramid building. So this guy was an amazing guy, and he taught mankind a lot and brought a lot of technology to us that was advanced and helped us develop it. And then as well as not only leaving the land of Chem and going to Mesoamerica and kickstarting the whole Mesoamerican advanced civilizations, where you have Teotihuacan, and which was much later, inherited by the Mayans and the Aztecs. They had nothing to do with building anything over there. They inherited everything that was already there. So just an amazing feat. This guy really went around the planet teaching and developing civilizations in the ancient past.
So, again, going through the chain of custody of the Emerald Tablets, so we understand, they were written in 36,000 BC. He constructs the Giza Plateau, where the pyramids are built, including the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx. He then places the Emerald Tablets underneath the Great Pyramid, and that was at 36,000 BC.
Well, they were in the hands of the pyramid priests, and those pyramid priests, at the time that this is about 1300 BC, I'm sorry. These pyramid priests migrated over to Mesoamerica, and they took the Emerald Tablets with them.
Did they make copies? Did they make copies of them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. There were copies of the Emerald Tablets. There were copies of them made under permission of Thoth himself, and also the pyramid priests that were in charge of them, and the people who ran the Great White Lodge. There were several copies that were made, and some of the copies that were approved were the one from Sir Isaac Newton, Philip of Tripoli, St. Thomas Aquinas, the famous cardinal, and several others that had, Roger Bacon, Michael Doreal. These people all had approval to, make their own copies of the Emerald Tablets and to write their own transcription of the tablets themselves.
Why 1300, 1200 BC? What happened in ancient Egypt during this period that the priests decided to remove the tablets from Egypt and take them throughout the world?
That was a time when Amen-Ra, who was also known as Marduk, and if you look in the Jewish library into the Torah, you see Marduk's name in there. If you look at the Enuma Elish and Seven Tablets of Creation, you see Marduk in there as well. And he's also listed in the modern day Bible. He was Amen-Ra. That's when you say amen, you're saying amen to Marduk. You're not saying amen to the creator of the universe. A lot of people don't know that. He's the one who ordered everybody to say amen. But anyway, he was responsible. That was Thoth's brother. He was responsible for a lot of anguish and sorrow, and he was just a very poor and evil ruler. And he was going against his own relatives, which is one of the reasons why Thoth had left and went to Mesoamerica, because him and his brother had kept getting into fights, and his dad said, "You got to get out of here, go to the other side and start something over there." But he was responsible for a pyramid war, and he wanted to basically be known as the one and only God. He was also responsible for telling Akhenaten to deface all of the gods around Egypt and anywhere that they were. This is why when you go to Egypt, you'll see that a lot of the places you go visit, the noses are broken off, the faces are chipped away, the bodies are chipped away, and a lot of hieroglyphs were actually deleted and removed from stone and granite because of Akhenaten. But he took those orders directly from Amen-Ra, and this caused a major uprising in the area, in the region, and these Anunnaki rulers started fighting each other, using humans as the chattel, just like they do now to this very day. The military sends kids out there to go fight.
Right.
And at the time, there was so much turmoil going on during this pyramid war that the priests decided to flee with this sacred information.
And so that's why they decided to leave. Why did they choose Central and South America? And did they also make their way to Asia?
Well, they chose Central and South America because it was there was no turmoil. It was a lot more peaceful, and the civilization was advanced and up and coming, and they can start their mystery schools and teachings out there. And it definitely made its way into Asia. As you can see, some of the largest pyramids in the world are also in Asia, especially if you go to China and also in Cambodia. Those temples are pyramidal type structures as well. And a lot of the wisdom, just from me going to Cambodia and being in Asia for almost a month earlier in 2018, a lot of the wisdom that's taught there, even by the monks themselves, I recognized immediately all came from the Emerald Tablets. So it was just absolutely amazing. And then I got into the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I was like just blown away that, again, this all leads back to the Emerald Tablets. It's just absolutely amazing.
Now, let's back up. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. Well, let's go back to Alexandria and this period of 1200 BC, which I find very interesting, because all of the great minds from around the world started to share their knowledge and information in Alexandria. Of course, we know about the library there, and part of this sharing of knowledge were the Emerald Tablets, and then we had the creation of Hermes Trismegistus.
Yeah, that was a great time. Now, and such turmoil was going on in Egypt at the time, especially with that whole Amen-Ra situation, that Alexander the Great shows up and defeats the Pharaoh at the time and takes over Egypt, and then becomes the people were so elated they made him the Pharaoh. They happily let him be the Pharaoh because of the way they were being ruled over before. And then, Alexander the Great discovers that his father was one of these Atlanteans, which was amazing. And some of the records show, and the historical record shows, that when he would go into battle, that these ships would go ahead of him and help him defeat the enemy. So that is something that a lot of people don't know about, and you can look it up. But during the time that he reigned, and we had we had Alexandria there, and we had this famous library where knowledge was taught. If you came on a boat and docked in Alexandria, you could not come there without books. Books were your exchange to come to the area.
Right.
And if you had books and you didn't turn them over, you can get arrested for that. It was all about exchanging knowledge, wisdom, and I really truly do believe that. Of course, one of the main topics here were the Emerald Tablets and quite a few other amazing pieces of work. But when the library burnt down, I truly do believe that a lot of that information was taken out of there and probably shuffled off, with Templar type people, who became the Templars, as well as a lot of it probably ended up in the Vatican by now. I don't think that all of those books were burnt.
Now, when we talk about the single tablet, the single emerald tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, that wasn't created at 36,000 BC, was it?
No, the Hermes Trismegistus tablet is something totally different. And Hermes is the name that the Greeks gave him. And then you began to have the followers of Hermes, who are actually the people that wrote the modern-day Bible. The scriptures that became the modern-day Bible, I should say, were written by followers of Hermes, which is why when you look at the original text in the original language before it got chopped up and changed everything else, you discover that it all comes from the Emerald Tablets and the Sumerian tablets and a little bit from the Mahabharata. So these people were followers of that, and they also had a tablet that they wrote based off of the Emerald Tablet, called the Tablet of Hermes, and the information in there, primarily, to be honest with you, is really telling the same exact story in terms of how you can utilize certain words and frequencies. You can vocalize certain words and frequencies to affect your space-time reality. How you can astral project, how important it is to seek enlightenment and follow the road of enlightenment, techniques on how to evade darkness and evade evil. I mean, all these things are all the same teachings that you would find in the same things that Jesus talked about in the New Testament. But all those words, as you can see in the book that I wrote, line up perfectly with the Emerald Tablets. I show side by side things, for example, that's being said by Jesus, who's actually Yeshua, and it perfectly lines up with what Thoth said, 36,000 years ago in the Emerald Tablet, and the Tablet of Hermes is extremely almost the same.
So was Thoth? If we go back to 50,000 BC, I want to get all this in before we get to the break. 50,000 BC, he arrives back on his ship to Chem. At that point, was he a physical being and not a god?
Yes, he was a physical being. What he would do was he had these avatar bodies. So he would walk amongst men, is what he would say. But while he was walking amongst men, his body would be inside the halls of Amenti. So he would literally put one body. They had obviously cloning technology in the regeneration chamber for 100 years, while he would walk amongst men in another body. Then he would transfer his consciousness back into the regenerated body and put the used body into the halls of Amenti. And he claims to have done this 100 times. So that's 100 times 100 years. That's 100,000 years of him just walking the earth, utilizing these avatar bodies. And when you start to look into the fast forward to a little bit more in the future and look at the fact that Jesus was a virgin birth, you have to start scratching your head and trying to figure out maybe this is another incarnation of Thoth, since he knows how to consciously incarnate at will. And did he find a way to incarnate through a womb, through artificial insemination, for the purposes of, gaining knowledge and wisdom, and more of maybe as a human being coming up. But when you look at the Gospel of the Holy 12, which talks about where Jesus went when he disappeared at the age of 14 to 32, you discovered that he did the ancient mysteries in Egypt. Then he went to Tibet to learn the mystic arts, and also to India to learn Reiki healing, teaching reincarnation all the way back. So that's another book that's been kept out of the Bible, the Gospel of the Holy 12.
So at 36,000 BC, we've got about a minute and a half here, Billy. At 36,000 BC, is that the point where Egypt started to, he made a transition from that to an actual god in the way that he is viewed today?
Yeah, so what happened was when he left Egypt and went to Mesoamerica. When he left, he was gone so long, in human time frame, that they deified him. So he never called himself a god. He never said to anybody, "Worship me." As a matter of fact, when they tried to worship him and grovel at his feet, he told them to stand up. That basically, I'm the son of Atlantis. I'm here to help you. So he never masqueraded as a god. But when he disappeared, when he left, the pyramid priests, after one generation, then began to deify him. They became a cargo cult, so to speak, and they deified him and said he was a god. But in true reality, he never claimed to have been a god.
Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight is Billy Carson. Tonight is night one of 4 straight Mondays, parts 1 through 4 on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And you can get Billy's new book. We've got it up there on Twitter, and the links are posted. You can go and order it now. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Billy and the Emerald Tablets after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously. Go Beckley Tappy. Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Introducing the new Surfer Music app. Listen, Fadernauts, you know I love my music. This is my go-to for all things notes. The Surfer app is a brand new concept in music listening. Surfer is free, providing unlimited access to thousands of live streaming radio stations. Surfer is an exciting, interactive listening experience. Discovery and surprise are built right in. Surfer is your destination to discover and rediscover great live streaming music. It features high-quality audio streams, free access to music from thousands of live streaming radio stations, unlimited listening, unlimited skipping. You get a music visualizer, and you can also select your favorite channels. Get it at the Apple App Store or Google Play. Just search Surfer Music or click on the Surfer banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
If you have hard water, the lime scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate lime scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Are you intrigued by paranormal talk radio? You'll love the new paranormal radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the paranormal radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the paranormal radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Tonight is part one of 4 parts that we are doing with Billy Carson on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. His new book, The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, is now available. We've got it up in Twitter, and Rita will repost that link here shortly. And go over and get your copy of it. It's an incredible book. We are talking about the history of the Emerald Tablets here and who Thoth was. And one of the things I want to establish who Thoth really was. One, we know now, and thank you, Billy, that he was the highest of the high priests of Atlantis. And he journeyed around the world. He ruled Egypt from 50,000 BC until 36,000 BC when he created the Emerald Tablets. And he is also credited, and this is what I want to discuss now, he's credited with the creation of a number of different things, including like law and magic and philosophy and religion and science and, of course, writing. All of these are attributed to Thoth, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, this guy was absolutely amazing, man. He literally is responsible for everything that we know in terms of our fundamental basis of intelligence that we utilize on a daily basis on this planet. Everything from math, the sciences, astronomy, astrology. As a matter of fact, Giza, I have a video that I put out a while back. Giza itself is a star map of the inner planets in our solar system, and I show perfectly exactly how from the sky looking down how it maps out, and it also matches perfectly to a NASA map of our inner solar system planets. If you overlay it once you draw out the diagram, right down to the correct astronomical units. So this man was absolutely amazing. The way that he built the Great Pyramid to be a multifunctional stone computer, and placed it directly at the center of the landmass on the planet Earth. Not the center of the Earth, but the center of the landmass, which means he had the capability of scanning all of the landmass on the entire planet and finding out where the center of that landmass was, then building the pyramid to the height of the average height of landmass on the planet Earth. Again, you have to scan the entire planet to find out what the highs and lows are to build something at the average height of the landmass. And the fact that also the inside, encoded within the pyramid's mathematical structure, is the distance to the moon, the distance to the sun, the speed of our orbit around the sun, and the speed of our sun around the actual galactic center. This is all incredible knowledge and wisdom that this entity, this being, had and brought to this planet.
The Greeks admired him, so greatly that they credited him as the originator of all knowledge, not only here on Earth, but in the heavens. And by stating it like that, the way that the Greeks did, it's exactly what you are suggesting here, that he had the knowledge of everything Earth, but also of the heavens, so he was able to take astronomy and astrology too as well, and attribute to all of that looking back at the Earth, and he had that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, his knowledge was supreme, and he said that his knowledge was supreme, and he had been chosen because of his vast knowledge by Thoth-me, who was really his father, Enki, and he had traveled through the universe. And he would go to other planets where civilizations existed, and he would watch civilizations rise and fall. We're talking about a being that has some real supreme capabilities and an extremely long lifespan.
And with that, he was also the judge. He was a judge. Yeah. He was capable of rendering just decisions, right? And just bring it down.
Absolutely, sure was. And he would, he can give out orders and say, to keep these, this is where I think the term really comes in the Bible, keep my commandments. He was the first person to say that in the Emerald Tablets. And also being that the fact that he's the keeper of the book of life. And what that means is, when people hear somebody has a book of life and it keeps all the information in there, it sounds like some type of a fairy tale. This sounds like some kind of religious fairy tale. But what people don't realize, if you look into quantum physics and quantum mechanics, which is where Thoth really goes heavily into in the Emerald Tablets, once you really break it down and analyze it, you start to realize that in modern science, we've discovered that second law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. And everything that exists energetically, which is basically every atom in the entire universe, every motion that it makes is permanently stored in the outer edges or outer regions of the universe's membrane. So there's no information lost. As a matter of fact, even Stephen Hawking discovered that if you go into a black hole, initially they thought you would be destroyed, but now they realize all of the information of you or whatever has gone into the black hole is stored on the event horizon. So once again, information is stored. So when somebody has a book of life, what they're saying is they have access to what we call the Akashic records, or the electromagnetic data or information that is stored about everything that has ever happened with anyone or anything.
Okay, let's discuss who his parents were, or did he have parents?
Well, the only parent that I'm aware of is Thoth-me, or Enki, who Enki was really, our Earth is named after him. His name was Ea Enki, Ki for Earth, and Ea was his two initials of his first name. So this is where we get the name Planet Earth from. He was a master geneticist and a scientist and a physicist that came here 450,000 years ago, according to the Sumerian record, and looking into the Enuma Elish and the Seven Tablets of Creation. And also he's mentioned the Epic of Atrahasis, or the Atrahasis Epic. So he basically was a ruler of Atlantis and the major capital city. And he's the one who gave Thoth the orders to go out and restart civilization after the Great Flood all over the planet. So he was a master geneticist. He was the one that actually is responsible for genetically modifying the existing humanoid on this planet creating the Homo sapiens sapien, which is what we are now, the modern human. Even though I don't think the term modern applies, I think that our ancestors might have been a little bit more connected spiritually and might have had bigger pineal glands than us before the genetic modification. But Enki did fall in love with humans, and matter of fact, he even had a human wife, or mated with a human, and had children.
But does that explain the absence of Thoth having a mother?
I believe so. I think that's it's very possible. And in one of the tales, one of these beings even married somebody or mated with somebody from another planet. So these, this is like Jupiter Ascending, the movie. I mean, it's so out there in terms of, how powerful these people are and how technologically advanced they are. I'm estimating they're probably a million years ahead of us. So, who was his mom? We don't even know. I mean, he could himself could have been a genetic modification. I mean, we just don't have that information, but he was a son of Enki. And the interesting thing is, he's Hermes Trismegistus, thrice born. He's been born again so many times as different people, and he's known all over the world with different names. He's Mercury, he's Odin, he's Thoth, he's Quetzalcoatl, he's Tahuti, he's Kukulkan, he's Viracocha, he's Lord Pakal. I mean, he's got so many names over the eons as he's gone around the planet to different places.
Yeah, and I've read so many different origin stories when it comes to Thoth, that he was born of Ra. It doesn't say that Ra's his father, but he was created from Ra's lips. I've read that. Of course, there's the famous myth about Horus and Set and their argument, and I think it was Horus's semen that was involved and how that happened. But there's no mother attributed to that. There's all of these different origin stories when it comes to Thoth, but there's never a mother discussed, and certainly it goes back to the beginning of creation. That this goes back a very, very long time. And if it's Ra that is involved here, and again, that can go back to Enki, too, as well, if you're discussing Ra, right?
Well, it can go beyond Enki because there's actually two Ra's. One Ra was the Amun Ra, or the Amun Ra, which was one of Enki's sons.
Right.
But there's also a Ra above Enki, in other words, far older than him even, that's from this home planet or this home world, which is what you see above a lot of the Egyptians' heads, this red circle. It's actually not sometimes it's shown in crescent, but it's not a crescent moon. It's a crescent planet in light of a sun somewhere. And supposedly it's pretty close to the Orion star belt is where this other planet of Ra is located, according to some of the texts that I've studied and researched now. So there's another Ra even above Enki.
Now, it's just very interesting, the chronology when it comes to Thoth, and it's very solid in that there are definitely different creation myths when it comes to Thoth and all of the demigods and ancient gods of ancient Egypt, but it is solid, and we can follow it all the way through. Now let's move forward so we can get to the next break. The Emerald Tablets get moved out of ancient Egypt and over to Mexico. And when were they revealed in Mexico, and how did they start to make their way into modern hands, like, of course, Isaac Newton, Francis Bacon, and others, and all the way up through modern times?
Yeah, in the early 1900s is when they were discovered, when people had gone out to Teotihuacan to start basically, cleaning it up, and it had been abandoned. And this is where people go, what happened to the Mayans? Well, when I went there, I knew what happened to the Mayans. They were all living around the area. They're just working people now. But the area itself had been abandoned, and it became an archaeological site. and explorers had gone in to start cleaning the place up. And that's when they were rediscovered again. And when they were rediscovered, one of the information made its way back to the guarders of the information, which would be the people in charge of this Great White Lodge, which is this mystery school society that is still in existence today. And they then worked their way back up into Europe and supposedly back into Egypt. But I truly believe that the only thing that really made it back are probably copies, to be honest with you. It did on its way back up. It got into the hands of these very famous people that had a chance to not only look at them, but decipher them and make copies of them, including the Queen of Sheba. And then eventually, I personally believe that they probably ended up in the Vatican. But that's how they, that's the kind of the timeline. It just kind of worked its way back to the east again, and that's when in Europe, when these famous people got their hands on them, St. Thomas of Aquinas and
Roger Bacon, of course, Bacon. Magnus.
Yeah.
Where did they get their versions of the Emerald Tablets? In that all of them, Bacon, Magnus, Meyer, Crowley, Isaac Newton, all did their own translations of the Emerald Tablets. Were those translations based on the same versions of the tablets, or do we know that?
Yeah, it was based off the same version of the tablets. And I made a mistake and it said 1900s. I meant to say 19th century.
Right.
But yeah, my bad. But even Philip of Tripoli had the Emerald Tablets in 1240 AD. He actually had the actual tablet, and he created a book called the Book of the Secret of Creation and the Art of Nature. So I mean, this is all based off of the actual tablet itself. So
I've never read that. I've never read that book. What is it?
I haven't read that book yet. Actually, it's hard to find, but it's an actual book that was written by Philip of Tripoli. Some of these books are so rare now. Even like the Gospel of the Holy 12, I paid $650 to get my hands on a real copy of that scripture. So it's so hard to find some of these things. You really got to dig, and when you can really find a real valid copy, you just got to kind of grab them if you have the budget.
What language is that written in? Can you read it?
Yeah, well, the Gospel of the Holy 12 has been translated into English.
Right.
I believe probably the original language probably was Akkadian, but it's in English now. I have a copy of it in English. There's two books out there. One is the Gospel of the Holy 12 with the number 1-2, but this is the Gospel of the Holy 12 with 12 spelt out. That's when you have the right version of it. It's an all white cover, all white bound cover back and front and back. There's one out there with colors on it and stuff, and it has a number 1-2. That's not the right one.
When Bacon and Magnus and even Isaac Newton, when they did their translations, what I found is that they were looking for recipes, right? They were looking for something else. They weren't looking for the meaning of life, if you know what I mean.
No, they were really looking for alchemical recipes. They were heavy. All these people were heavy into alchemy, utilizing organic and inorganic materials to create substances that can then do all different types of things like alter reality, change time, change the future, affect the human body for longevity, and create gold out of nothing. All these different types of alchemical type of things that they were looking to do, cast spells and so forth and so on. They were heavily into that type of stuff, and the Emerald Tablets basically teach you that, but in a way that's not what some people might want to call demonic or whatever. When you really break it down, it's talking about real physics. It starts to talk about cymatics and creating frequencies and how those frequencies alter realities. And in one part of the book, on the tablets, you see where he's calling on these names. And these names are not names of people. They're actual frequencies that you're calling out. You're vocalizing frequencies, and those vocalizations, because of the way they are set up by Thoth, he already knows what the effect they have. They have the ability to alter your reality tunnel. So that's what this is all about. He talks about using sound and frequencies to generate or create matter from the ether of space-time itself. Just like Tesla said, if we ever discovered how to create matter out of the ether, it would be the biggest, thing that mankind has ever accomplished or achieved. So he obviously probably read these Emerald Tablets as well.
And Bacon,
all of that.
Right? And Bacon and Newton probably, I wasn't there, but probably didn't understand that aspect of it. They were looking for more black and white answers out of the Emerald Tablets instead of looking at what was actually written by Thoth, and because Thoth was writing in a more divine sense, right?
Correct. He was writing more esoteric wisdom,
right?
And they weren't really tapping all the way into that. They were looking, like you say, for the physical aspects of it, what they can do physically with their, what they can control themselves. But when you really look into the Emerald Tablets and get into some of the deeper meanings, you realize it's the path to enlightenment. It's almost like you're becoming your own Buddha in a way, and transcending reality, this third dimensional reality, into another, taking your consciousness into a higher dimension.
And why do you think that everybody? I want to talk about Crowley in just a second, but why do you think that? Because Roger Bacon was a very smart guy. Isaac Newton, we know how smart these guys were. How did they miss the interpretation of these hidden meanings? That's the part that puzzles me, but they clearly didn't get it.
Yeah, it's it's part of the human experience, I think, and also maybe even the time frame that they were in. When you've got your heart or your mind set on looking for one specific thing before you get to the content and material, then when you finally get it, that's all you're focused on getting out of it,
What was that? Right. Well, I feel like I interrupted you, but
that's all right.
It's very important that we understand what language was the tablets originally written in. What were they translating from?
That's a very good question. I mean, the tablet that kind of gets passed around a lot in terms of the image of a tablet, and I even have a replica of one. It looks like runes, but a different version of runes. Runes is an ancient language that had been deciphered by many scholars already and linguists over hundreds of years. But this looks like runes, but it's not really runes. A little bit different. And because this Atlantean civilization was global and had interacted with so many other civilizations around the planet, it's very possible that there was a Rosetta Stone, so to speak, of these letters and words, because it seemed to be so easy for these other scholars to be able to decipher the text and write their own books from them. So just like there's a Rosetta Stone, that kind of, from ancient Sumeria, where they had done a lot of trading with other civilizations in different regions, so they already had the translations readily available, which has been discovered now in some of the cuneiform tablets and stones. I believe that the same thing happened here. The original language was most likely what we would probably call the original Atlantean language, but it does resemble runes. And because there's only so many ways to write words, they probably did have some aspects of runes and some aspect of what looks like Asian writing in a way, and then even some aspect of hieroglyphs involved.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't recognize it. But what is interesting here, we keep bringing up, Bacon and Magnus, Michael Meyer, not the Michael Meyer, and to Isaac Newton, and to jump up into the 20th century with Aleister Crowley doing these translations. Because when I look at it, it looks like Elven script. I don't even know what. I can't make any sense of it, but certainly if you're translating it all the way up through the 20th century, as Aleister Crowley did, then they clearly understood the language, and I don't know how the translations were done. I don't. And it goes up to Dorial, too, as well.
Right. I think it passes through these mystery schools. A lot of these guys were Freemasons, and they had those special books. I do have one Freemason book that was given to me by a guy whose dad was a Freemason, and that book talks about people living on the moon. So they have these books, and most likely, depending on the level that you are in this masonry, you probably get to a level where you're given some of this ancient wisdom and some of these translations. And Aleister Crowley was literally looking for it from the magical standpoint. He was looking to tap into the knowledge to be able to create magic and cast spells and so forth. And he was tapping into a lot of the Egyptian magic, a lot of the ancient wisdom from the ancient land of Chem that Thoth had talked about, where he could utilize sounds and frequencies to create different realities and astral project and even use light frequencies to generate matter and all this stuff, which is what I talk about in the book. Crowley was into all of that stuff, and more of the metaphysical aspect of the Emerald Tablets.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't include Crowley in the original translators, because certainly he was going to approach it from a completely different mindset than these chemists and physicists from the past.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, he was really looking for, the metaphysical aspect of it and the esoteric meaning of it and everything else. I mean, the guy, although he was obviously crazy in some ways, he was also a brilliant genius. He's probably some type of a savant, but he really saw the tablets for what they were. And one of the things about the tablets it talks about is the fact that if the light is in you, then the light in the tablets will respond to you. And I truly believe that probably depending on who you truly are as a person, the tablets will probably bring that out in you if you're not really seeking the path of enlightenment. And this guy Crowley might have been consumed by his own dark agendas and, was trying to utilize something that really was putting people on the path to enlightenment for his own, dark intentions. But the guy definitely had a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom. Unfortunately, he had a lot of dark agenda. He was one of the dark brothers that were talked about in the Emerald Tablets, actually.
We've got 1 minute here before the break, and I want to, set this up for after the break, which is the history of the Emerald Tablets in the 20th century. How did the tablets find their way to Maurice Doreal?
That's a very, very good question. One of the Doreal had gotten a hold of these tablets through the Great White Lodge, one of the priests of the Great White Lodge, which is still in action today. As a matter of fact, they even have a website up. That same old order, and that those pyramid priests. I guess this may be their offspring or downline or whatever, but they're still in action today. And but he had gotten a copy from them and the permission to translate it from them.
And when did he... Well, you know what? We'll just pick this up after the break. We don't have enough time to get to it right now. This is our part 1 of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth with Billy Carson. We're going to be doing this for the next 3 consecutive weeks, 4 total, here on Fade to Black. More with Billy and the Emerald Tablets after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-717-WAVE, 888-717-WAVE, or visit dryhealthyhome.com. Dryhealthyhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. We're doing a 4-part series on the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Billy's new book, The Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, is out. You can get it. And we've got the links up for it in Twitter, and I will do it again, and so we'll read it before the end of the show. And now we've moved all the way up. Tonight we're discussing, in part 1, the history of the Emerald Tablets, all the way from the beginning through the 20th century, which takes us to Maurice Doreal. And I think, I want your opinion on this, Billy, but it's one of the most accepted translations of the Emerald Tablets. It's a pretty bold statement, but am I right?
You are right. It is one of the most accepted translations. And I think it's probably that because he's directly connected with this, the Great White Temple, this Brotherhood of the Great White Temple. That, as a matter of fact, he's featured on their website. This temple goes all the way back into ancient times, and is still alive and active till this very day. And Doreal was a spiritual teacher, basically teaching people metaphysics and and quantum mechanics and how they merge together in this like metaphysical type of a church atmosphere, that he was kind of a preacher, but teaching these hermetic principles really is what he was teaching that are inside the Emerald Tablets.
Did he channel Thoth? Did Thoth reach out to him?
There's a couple of different versions of that, and some of it is that he has channeled some of that information or downloaded some of that information.
Right.
And some people think that when they hear that term, it sounds like, oh, this is some crazy stuff. But if they really knew how DNA worked, they wouldn't think it was so crazy, because scientists now in modern times, peer-reviewed, well-vetted science and science journals shows that they have taken 1 gram of DNA out of the human body, which is enough to put a pinprick on the tip of your finger, and they're able to store 700 terabytes of digital data on that DNA from a computer.
Right.
They're able to upload and download from it. Now they've discovered that DNA also can send and receive information wirelessly.
I want to, right. I want to, staying with that, I want to read a short paragraph from your book, if I could.
Sure.
Because, and this is what I understand in my research with the Emerald Tablets over the years. And you state it very clearly here, and this is what you write, and I'm quoting here. You say that Thoth gave Dorial permission to retain a copy of his translations. Now, that right there states some type of direct communication between Dorial and Thoth. And you say that give a copy of his translations after making the arduous journey and delivering the tablets to the doorway of the halls of Amenti. We can imagine Dorial taking a transport ship across the Atlantic in the mid-1920s, bound for Egypt while concealing the glistening Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Atlantean. How he must have slipped into the pyramid complex under the cover of darkness, directed by the presence of Thoth, to the hidden entrance. This entrance lay undisturbed for 3,300 years, since the guardian priests had left behind their temples for the mission of Thoth. So that's where I'm, going with all of this. That he was guided by Thoth, or at least he has certainly implied it. I'm talking about Dorial.
Absolutely. From a lot of the research that I've done, it's why that's in the book, is because it appears that he had downloaded or had been in direct contact, one of the two. I'm thinking maybe more of direct contact with Thoth himself, because I believe that this being is still here or still around. In other words, he goes from planet to planet, or he goes and comes and goes as he will. But during this particular time, this crucial time in history where we needed to get the tablets back to a place and get these translations going, so that, like Thoth says, in time in the future, when human beings are worthy of the wisdom, which would be us now, it would be revealed to us. So this is all part of the process of getting it to a place to where it can be seen, touched, translated, and so forth, to the point where people around the world can get access to this sacred knowledge and wisdom, because the time is actually now. We are in the future now. This is the time. This is the perfect time. We have the perfect tools. We have the internet. We have everything we need now. In this particular time and age, ignorance is a choice, and the knowledge is here for us, and it was all set up by Thoth himself, amazingly, for us to get this information now. And Dorial was one of the pioneers, or one of the, if you want, I don't know if you want to call him a tool or whatever, that he used to get this information out to the masses.
And it was Dorial's modern translations that guided you to write the Compendium.
Absolutely. Those modern translations. I mean, when I started looking into the Kabbalah, and of course I had already studied a lot of the teachings of Jesus and the Buddha and everything else, and Dorial's was just syncing with everything and syncing directly with the way that I believe a lot of this information had been brought forward into a lot of these newer texts and religions. I said, this to me seems like the most pure version, and because this guy seems to may have had some type of direct contact with Thoth, I felt like, let me go with this version of the writing.
He took the 10 tablets and arranged them into 13 chapters, and I have I have read those 13 chapters. I've also sat many nights and listened to the audio reading of the 13 chapters, chapter 1 through chapter 13. And then he also did a supplement to those 13 chapters. Can you explain why he did it that way?
Supposedly, the supplements were not approved to be released to the general population. I guess it was the Brotherhood of the White Temple that didn't allow those supplements to be released. They were already available. They were already done, and they just weren't translated. But then they were translated by him, but weren't approved to be sent out because of the power that's in them. Those last two tablets, or those supplements, if you want to call them, are extremely, extremely strong, and they give a lot of secrets to everything from creating matter to portal travel to creating realities, to really manipulating people. I mean, if you're not ready for that kind of knowledge and information, it could be used the wrong way. And I think that's why it was delayed in being released so long. But it even talks about getting to the key to Shambhala, which is like, this heaven place or this other dimension where this other planet exists. I mean, it's so far out there that, it was even hard for me to wrap my mind around it initially.
And so and I've got a whole list of questions that I've been saving here for the end of the show that have come in from the Fadernauts that we need to address. But today, the versions of the translations, the two most modern versions that we have, which is Dorial and Aleister Crowley, have you been able to put those side by side, and are they the same?
I have, and they're actually very, very close. They're extremely close. Aleister Crowley, he obviously focuses more, you can tell by his writing, more on some of the metaphysical aspect and some of the more of the magical aspects of the writing.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, they're not too far off.
Okay, let's get to some of these questions that we have here. And let's see here. Let me back up. One of them is if the Emerald Tablets are underneath. Let me actually get to the question here. Do you have any idea about the sealed opening on the top of the Sphinx's head and what that was there for? And all of this stems off of, what's underneath the Sphinx. If the Emerald Tablets were spirited away and hidden in the Great Pyramid, then what's underneath the Great Sphinx? And we can address that, and also the hole on the top of the Great Sphinx. Absolutely.
There's I've been to Egypt, and there's actual hieroglyphs that depict, and also scrolls, papyrus scrolls. I have a replica of one that I was able to get from Wayne Herschel out of South Africa, where depict the kings of ancient times, including Thoth himself, would descend in this flying vessel onto the back of the Sphinx. So the Sphinx was a landing pad, believe it or not, of these flying craft, these vimanas. Then the king would get out, and he would walk up to the head and go down into the head. Inside that opening that's sealed now on top of the Sphinx's head, there's a winding staircase that goes down, and it opens up. There's a door in between, in the front of the chest of the Sphinx that opens up, and you come out right in between the two front paws. And that was only for the kings to land and come down. So the Anunnaki kings of old, or the Atlanteans, if you want to call them that, they would land on the back of the Sphinx to make this grand entrance. They would go down into the head, go down the winding staircase, which has been already scanned now. We know it's in there. And they would come out through the door in the front chest, right in between the paws. Underneath the Sphinx itself, there have been discovered several massive objects. And in the Emerald Tablets, Thoth talks about the fact that he has hidden his ship underneath the Sphinx's paw, and that far in the future, people will come in from space to battle, and that he who has the wisdom to release his ship can defeat them with ease. So this is some far out space, Star Wars type information, that we're getting from 36,000-year-old text.
This comes from Eddie. Eddie says, was Thoth an actual name or the title held by a select bloodline of rulers?
That was actually, that's a good question. It's actually one of his names. All of his names are basically giving him some type of a credence to be the bloodline of this Atlantean king, or this kingship, or this real what he likes to call himself, a son of Atlantis. So this particular bloodline, but his name was a very unique name and royal name, and his dad himself called him Thoth or Thoth. But as he traveled through the world over time, that name changed as he inhabited different bodies in different regions of the world. Why that is, I'm not sure, but it seems as if all of these beings from back then, names changed over time as they travel around the world and so forth. Their names, they always had many names. If you go to the Congressional Library in Washington, D.C., on those two giant steel doors, you have both pictures of Thoth. You have one on the left, which is him as the Egyptian with the ibis head, and on the other side, you have him as Odin, more of a humanoid form, a human being form, just a very massive one, more like an Anunnaki god. So it's well known that who this person is. He just has many names, and he obviously is descending from this bloodline, and his dad being Thoth-me, but also goes back to Enki as well. So that's a good question.
And the ancient Greeks named him Hermes.
Hermes, exactly. Hermes Trismegistus. You have Hermes. They also named him Mercury, and Mercury was his planet. And ironically, they found all that Mercury underneath the pyramid tunnels over there in Teotihuacan, Mexico, a couple of years back.
And China, too, as well.
Yes, that's right. The emperor's, the pyramid in China, it was an emperor burial there, and they found a whole ton of Mercury over there.
Rivers.
Yeah.
Rivers of Mercury. This comes in from Jace, and this was earlier in the show. He said, by the way you were talking about Thoth, that he built the pyramids just for the heck of it, like it was some kind of competition. Oh, I mean,
no. Yeah. Well, he built the pyramid as a multifunctional stone computer. And the Great Pyramid itself, the reason why he was letting everybody know that he was the one that built it, to not fall prey to false information and people staking claim to it, was because he built it in a specific way and for specific purposes. One is the fact that it was a wireless power generator. It was a portal generator, a communications device of sound, video, audio. It also was a device that made earthquakes less powerful in the region or in the area. It just had so many functions. It also had astronomically built into the dimensions of it all of the information contained within our solar system and also in our local sector of this galaxy. It's just an amazing piece of work, and also was a beacon for incoming ships coming in from because the way it was originally sealed on the outside before everything was removed from the stones. It used to glisten in the sunlight. It was a beacon as well for incoming ships from wherever they came from. So it had all these aspects to it, and it really was just a massive stone computer, multifunctional stone computer, and that's why he wanted everybody to know that he was the one that constructed it, built it, and he also laid out the plans for future pyramid construction, which was then taught to other people and went global. This is why you have pyramids all over the world right now.
Of course, the $1 million question, which is this comes in from Mark. How do we know that the Emerald Tablets are not a work of fiction?
That's a fantastic question. I mean, you always have to take something like that into consideration. When you look at the history of the Emerald Tablets, though, and the hands that they've passed through, and as far back as the records that we can tap into go, they appear, by all intents and purposes, to be completely real. And then when you start looking into science and realizing how much this information ties into real quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and then looking into some of the more recent texts in like the Bible, the Quran, even Hinduism and Buddhism and some of these other religions, you start to realize that a lot of the stuff seems to come from the Emerald Tablets. Can we say, unequivocally, this is the exact age of this object? No, but based on circumstantial evidence, just like if you were to go to court right now in America, if they have enough circumstantial evidence against you, you might be able to get convicted. Well, we have a lot of circumstantial evidence that has been pulled and pieced together by myself and many others now, Gerald Clark and many other great authors that have done a lot of research, not only in online and in books, but also in the field. We've actually gone out in the field and talked to shamans, talked to pyramid priests. I've sat down with pyramid priests and I've meditated in the Holy of Holies. I've done all these things and gone all over the world to get these, to get these answers from these very important people, homegrown archaeologists, people that have been in the area for generations, to come up with these conclusions and these theories to put together this piece of work. And I've come to the conclusion after all of that the Emerald Tablets are not only real, but are the fundamental basis of all religion and spirituality that we have, that we know of today.
Do you know, I know that we mentioned earlier in the show that you have been contacted by some teachers or a teacher that are now using this as part of their classes and curriculum. But why is it that it isn't more widely talked about, not only in school, but in general? Why is it that the Emerald Tablets are just being ignored?
I think because we've been programmed to believe that the only thing that's valid is what the modern day religious texts say. And it's been so embedded into the human race that when you go talk to somebody about something else that's totally different, and it could be the original source material, because people are so programmed into believing that the other information, which is actually what I call New Age information, is more accurate or real. They tend to say that all these other things are acts of myth and fiction. And not trying to realize that the information they're reading and basing their eternity on, they haven't done enough research to figure out the source material for any of it. So it's just a manipulation and control tactics have really taken over the human race, and the oppression and suppression of information has worked so well that works like this just seem to be so ambiguous that they're just taken as with a grain of salt.
Well, and when we talk about, the Great Pyramid being, a computer or a digital device, and now we're talking about storage mechanisms and other things, and which takes us into Hermetica. And is Hermetica an analog language?
Hermetica is it's a way of living. It's a lifestyle. To me, it's unified physics. It's everything. It's everything from how to think, how to live, how to breathe, how to act, how to love. It's everything all in one. And if you follow the Hermetica, if you really study it and follow it, if everybody did, this world be living in heaven on earth right now. And this is the work of Thoth. I mean, this is the kind of works he left behind. These teachings are so powerful that we'd all be living under unconditional love. We'd all be understanding the real nature of physics. We'd be traveling the stars. We'd be, communicating probably by using our minds. We'd be using telekinesis. I mean, it would be a different planet. We'd probably be ethereal beings by now. That's how powerful this Hermetica is.
We've never needed the Emerald Tablets more than where we are today. Mm-hmm. This is a world divided. You know what I mean? And yes. It doesn't matter what the subject is anymore, Billy. It doesn't matter. All I got to do is say something like cheeseburger or car tire, or I could say the Muppets. It doesn't matter. I could say the word puppy, and I'm going to start a fight with somebody. It's amazing where we are today, and we need the Emerald Tablets now, don't we?
Man, we need it more than ever. I mean, even if, let's say, hypothetically, the Emerald Tablets were not written 36,000 years ago, to be honest with you, who really cares? It's a powerful, powerful teaching, a powerful writing. And if you can get into it and wrap your mind around it and wrap your mind around these teachings and really try to enact them in your life, you'll find that not only you'll change your life, but you'll change the lives of all the other people around you, and for the better. And that's the real powerful. That's the real power of the Emerald Tablets, is the fact that they have the capability of transmitting thoughts, consciousness into your own body. And that's really what's happening. We all become fractals of Thoth the Atlantean by taking in and studying and researching this material, and a fractal of his consciousness actually inhabits us and allows us to make changes in our lives for the better.
The book is out now, and of course everybody can order it. But what about getting an autographed copy, Billy? Can somebody get that?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, for the next 2 months, I'm autographing every single copy. The first set of books that we did in Volume 1, I autographed every single one. That was thousands of autographs. I'm still committed to doing it now, but we're going to do a special just for the show as well. I'm pretty sure you'll announce that. We're going to give away a couple of specially autographed, personalized autographed books where I'm going to write a special letter in each one.
And we're going to be doing that over the next. We're going to be doing that over the next 3 weeks, and we didn't announce it today for a variety of reasons. But I want to make the next 3 weeks special. But for you doing that for the Fadernauts makes everything just really, really, really cool. And the book is amazing. I want to encourage everybody to go out there and get it. And the fact that you're doing that and signing these books and making this information accessible to everyone is just absolutely amazing. The book is such a great read, and I want to thank you for that. And so next week, Billy, what we are going to be discussing the halls of Amenti, and then we will give away books next week. And I've got about 1 minute left before we get to next Monday. What's the quick definition of the halls of Amenti, and why should everybody listen?
Well, the halls of Amenti are a huge group of tunnels that were recently discovered underneath the Great Pyramid now in modern times. I'm talking about just a year and a half ago, that really truly do exist. And Thoth used to go down there into these regeneration chambers to regenerate these avatar bodies so that he can have a fresh body to walk amongst men and travel even the universe. So the fact that they're down there, and the fact that Eric von Daniken had found these secret shafts leading down into deeper areas and these tunnel and temple areas underneath the Great Pyramid, which is well documented by video, I really think everybody should listen in and check it out, because I'm going to give you some mind-blowing content and information about the halls of Amenti next week.
Thank you so much, Billy. Be safe and be well, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much, Billy.
All right, man. Bye.
We'll see Billy next week, and part 2 will be what are the halls of Amenti, and next week we are going to be giving away. We'll take some phone calls, and we will be giving away a couple of custom autographed copies of the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you so much, Billy. We've got the links up right now so you can go and get your copy. I'll be right back after this short break, and I will open up the phone lines. Let's take some phone calls. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Teppy. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and my family is safe because of Numana Emergency Food Storage. Just go to the Numana banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Promo code Jimmy10.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right. I'm opening up the phone lines right now. The first two callers. First two callers with comments or questions about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and make it good. I'll give away 2 books. I'll give away 2 autographed copies right now. Okay? 747. The race is on. 747-228-2051. Okay? And make it good. Make it good, and I will send it out. I will send out 2 autographed copies of the Emerald Tablets. Go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live right now. You got to be ready.
Man, I got a buzzing going on. I can barely hear you.
Okay, well, I can hear you just fine. It must be you.
Okay. Hey, I got a question about them tablets.
Okay. Yeah, you do.
When does he think that they were actually written? That's what I don't understand, because he's guessing 36,000, but he doesn't know. What did the Vatican books say?
Well, no. Okay, so what he has based it on, and I agree with him, when we are talking about the age of the Giza Plateau, clearly what has been published about and taught about the age of the pyramids is not correct. And I will stand by that. And when you go to Robert Shocks and John Anthony West, excellent work, as including Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock, where the age of the plateau points back to, at the very minimum, 10,500 BC, which was the last alignment to Taurus, which is the direction of the Great Sphinx, at 10,500 BC. Thoth, and this is according to, if you go back to the Edfu building text, which is in Edfu, the dating goes back to Zep Tepi, which goes back to 50,000 years ago. Thoth ruled Egypt from 50,000 BC to 36,000 BC when he left Egypt, and that's when he says that he wrote the tablets, and that's what it's based on. When you say Billy doesn't know, it's clearly written in the text, and that's what is stated.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Got you, man.
Okay, what's your name?
This is Pat Reese.
Oh, this is Pat? Okay, Pat, you know Rita's email.
Elf on Twitter.
Yeah, you know Rita's email. Write Rita, send us your address, and we'll get you out an autographed copy of the book.
All right, Jimmy, thanks, man.
Thank you, Pat. Have a great night. That's a great phone call right there from the one and only Pat Breeze. He got himself an autographed copy of the book. Let's go to our next caller. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, can you hear me, Jimmy?
Yeah, I got you. Who's this?
Chad, man.
Hey, Chad, how are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Fayetteville, Tennessee, brother.
Are you really?
Yeah, man.
It sounds like you're on the road.
I am. That's actually why I called in, man. I had a question that come through a bad spot. Oh.
Okay.
So he was saying that Thoth could have actually been an incarnation of Jesus. Is that right?
Or vice versa. Yes.
Or vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, right when I was coming through, man, I lost signal and I missed that part. So that was my main question. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting, and you should get a copy of the book. And Chad, I know you're on the road, but you need to write Rita. And I've got you right here. Write Rita and send us your address, and we'll get you out an autographed copy. This is the thing, and it's really presented pretty well in the book from Billy. But as you go and continue to research who Thoth was, and you start to get into Hermes and Hermetica, then you start to find out, and this is something that is absolutely documented throughout time, is that Thoth was brought across not only through Greece and Rome, but around the world, and was given many, many different names. And it's pretty funny how the world's religions and the Bible, too, as well, are so similar to those ancient texts.
I couldn't agree more, man. Spot on, man.
Hey, thank you so much. So you're from Fayetteville?
Yeah, Fayetteville, Tennessee. Man, I've listened to you forever, brother, every night.
Man, I lived in Memphis for a while.
Oh, no doubt.
No,
I go through there a lot too, man.
Man, I love Tennessee, man. Every aspect, east, west, north, and south, man. Tennessee is where it's at. Thank you so much, Chad. Be safe out there.
All right, appreciate it, Jimmy. Good talking to you, brother.
It's good talking to you, Chad. Have a great night. Be safe out there on the road. The part of this that I constantly, where I am so fascinated with the history of Thoth is how his knowledge went from. You have to understand what was going on in Alexandria was one of the coolest parts of history, where these scholars and historians and physicists and mathematicians and architects and philosophers all got together in ancient Egypt and Alexandria and shared knowledge, and that was part of it. And Billy talks about this tonight, in that if you pulled a ship into Alexandria, if you actually pull into Alexandria, you better have had some books. That's how your ship was able to port in Alexandria. And this is part of the historical record. All right, I'm putting everybody on hold. It's going to silence here. And let's get back to some of these calls. They're fantastic. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, yes, my name is Gino Williamson.
Hi, Gino. How are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Des Moines, Iowa.
How you doing, man? How's Des Moines?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be on the call.
What's your question tonight?
Yes, I'm very fascinated with the Emerald Tablets, and I have a question is, I know Billy talks about manifesting your reality and how when you speak, it manipulates time and space. And, you know, me being 20 years old and just starting my business, working a full-time job, you know, I want to help manifest my reality. And what I do in my business is I go out in the marketplace and I basically trying to partner with people who want to change the world and get more people free from working a slavery 9-to-5 job, you know, so manifesting my reality, speaking my reality. So what advice from the Emerald Tablets could you give me for manifesting my reality through Thoth's teaching?
Well, you know, what's fascinating with that, Gino, is that for it to be talked about like it is in the Emerald Tablets, when it's such an ancient text, that part of it, with you know, time being an illusion and time travel and portals and manifesting your own reality, it sounds like something modern. It's something modern to say, right? You just said it right now, right? And it sounds like science fiction. You know, it just sounds so modern, and it is not. These concepts have been discussed for thousands and thousands of years. And that's why you should definitely get a copy of the book. Billy will be talking about in week 3 and week 4 about both of these concepts. And changing your reality, by the way, if you go back and listen to Fade to Black regularly, it's something that we discuss constantly on this show. I believe in it because I have changed my own reality as well. And we have so many guests that discuss this, and I find it very, very interesting. So you should go back and check it out, but you definitely need to get a copy of the book.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I actually ordered it a couple months ago, still waiting on it, but thought I'd listen to the radio show and just call. And
I can't wait. I cannot wait for you to get the book. And as you read through it, Gino, call back, and you know, you already know on Thursday nights, right? We have open lines, but get the book and read through it and call in and let's talk about it. It's going to change you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you, Gino. Be safe out there. Where are you? Oh, you're in Iowa. Thank you so much, man.
Take care.
Have a good night. That's a good phone call right there. Already ordered his book. And, man, I've read it, and I can't wait for Gino to do that, too, as well. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Matt. How's it going?
Hey, Matt, how are you?
Not bad. So I'm calling from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Grant Cameron's place.
Yeah, how is Grant these days?
I don't know. I haven't been able to see him, so I've been busy with my university work, so... I'm an engineering student at the University of Manitoba. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have been collecting all kinds of UFO books. I just got an autographed Robert Hastings UFOs and Nukes.
Oh, that's a great book. That's a
I know.
Really...
I'm like, holy mackerel!
Yeah,
the
man.
Knowledge in this.
Yeah. That's a crazy book. When I first read it, I remember when we had Robert on. I think we've had him on a couple of times, but when I first read the book, it scared me. It scared me. This is the thing about Robert. He wrote and researched that out of passion because he knew something was going on, right? He absolutely knew there was a connection. And he went out and he talked to everybody firsthand. His research goes back a long, long ways. And you read that, and man, it not only did it scare me, but I was also reassured. I've talked about this many times. I want your opinion on this. I think there's a reason why nuclear weapons haven't been used offensively. Since Japan, that we've had many opportunities, but it's never happened, has it? What do you think's going on?
Okay, this is interesting. Okay. So I'm involved with understanding a lot of deep quantum physics and stuff, and understanding a lot of deep how electrical energy and computers and all these crazy things all kind of work together, right? Linda Moulton Howe, when she says that when we detonate nuclear bombs, we tear into dimensional space that we know nothing about.
Yep.
All right, and I love this because I listened to Richard Dolan too, and he was always, I'm not quite sure I believe in that. Well, let me explain to you exactly where the proof of that actually is. Have you ever heard of something called the D-Wave processors?
Absolutely. D-Wave blows my mind. I talk about it many times on this show. Awesome.
Well, if you look at how those energy states fluctuate, when you look at those niobium processor-based components inside the chip, when you supercool them and they don't oscillate, all right, when you energize certain electrons and they can be in different dimensional states simultaneously, what is that? It's an electrical charge, and it has actually traversed different dimensional states in a single wafer. So when you look at an atomic bomb, what happens when you detonate these things? They're like massive, massive discharges of electrical magnetic energy. So when you burst these things, you obviously have to be every single electron coming off of one of those EMP charges has to be interacting with different dimensional states beyond our perception.
Well, that's what quantum mechanics and quantum theory states.
Exactly.
Okay.
But now when you look at it through a massive atomic bomb, though, like you think of that kind of energy, like you're looking at chaos going back to actual, order. It's even Jonathan Cyril explains this stuff when he looked at his Cyril effect generator, right? You're bringing order or chaos back to order simultaneously to match a certain geometry, right? It's a certain frequency, it's a certain vibrational status. It's just like when you were to take a string and you oscillate it, and you were to put, say, like a piece of ball or something on the string, you would actually move the ball automatically to the node, so it rests in those particular points. Well, atomic bombs are just a bigger scale of that, essentially. You permeate, you plug into those dimensional states. Well, and just on a bigger scale.
That's right. And we are doing that experimentation clearly without knowing what we are doing. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And if we look at what CERN is doing right now, and when you're doing, light speed collisions of particles just to see what happens, that's a pretty, with a stated goal of hopefully creating small black holes. Wait a minute here. We need to slow that truck down. We don't understand. And could they be opening up portals to a dimension and allowing something through that opening to enter here that we don't understand? Or how to
right,
I feel that in my bones.
When I look at David Icke, for instance, David Icke, he was pretty much clear. We only see 2% of all matter, eh? We don't know exactly what rests outside of our 98% unexplored domain.
Absolutely.
And people when I hear people, I don't really necessarily believe that. Well, if you really want proof of that, look at your cell phone signals, right? Like you can't necessarily taste, touch, smell, feel or hear the waves coming to your cell phone, but you know that they're there because our technology detects it.
Right.
One can say that these waveforms exist outside your perception of reality. So now when we look at that, all right, I can't help but think how much growing up we actually got to do. Like, I'm thinking, what would happen if Jimmy Church was outside in the middle Atlantic Ocean, you know, minding his own business, perhaps studying fish, and maybe your family's out there too, studying everything else that seems to be in your area. Maybe perhaps that's the reason why they're here. You know, some people, just some other extraterrestrials want to study a little bit of what's in our water, what's in our soil. You know, we know that they're entering and leaving our atmosphere as, you know, day in, day out comes along. And like, yeah, I know they're there. Richard knows that they're there. Linda knows that they're here. So they're pretty credible people. So they're definitely here. You know, imagine you're minding your own business, doing your thing out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and all of a sudden, out of human ignorance, big, massive atomic bomb comes flying in a few kilometers away, blows up underneath the ocean water, and now you see this big, massive tidal wave coming towards you. So now you got to get onto your boat, and you got to full speeder out of there, and maybe you just might make it out of there on time before a massive shock wave just, you know, blows up your ship or blows up your little boat, and you might make it out alive. I would imagine that if you survive that, you're going to be pretty pissed off. And I can't help but think that when we tested 1,023 nuclear bombs before we actually signed a test ban treaty, that was what they might be feeling. You know, we had no idea that they're there. We haven't done any work on ourselves in order to develop consciously, in order to behave better, to begin with. And that could be you. You know, what if that is them? You know, we just blew up a massive weapon in our backyard, and we never even thought to ask twice if something else was there first. And now you got this massive shockwave of radioactive energy and electrical energy and neutrinos and antineutrinos and God knows what, flinging in all directions. And, you know, and if you survive that, I'd be pretty pissed off. Like, I'm actually, when I read that book, I never been more embarrassed to be a human being by reading that. That we actually behave that way.
And we do it, like I said, we do it with reckless abandon. And I know there's a certain amount of science that has to push boundaries, where you've got to go out and you're going to school right now, right, for engineering.
Absolutely.
So there's only one way to move forward, and that is to make mistakes. And that's what science is based on, is correcting mistakes from the past, right? Constantly correcting and changing the science so we can move forward with the knowledge once that's fixed. But when you have a company like D-Wave start to say things like, look, we are changing the states of our qubits in parallel worlds. And it's just like, wait a minute here. The engineering behind qubits and quantum computing and the deep freezing of those states, like you had mentioned, that's how they run. They're giant refrigerators, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they are. And changing the states of qubits into one of three states, right? Both or reverse, whatever. By doing that, you are affecting another particle, another qubit in another infinite dimension, going to the left or to the right into parallel worlds. And now, although this sounds like science fiction, D-Wave and other quantum computer manufacturers, including China, understand this concept, and it's not science fiction to them. So what does that suggest? So we need to push those boundaries to get there. Right? And I fully understand that. And then we come into something like CERN or the Trinity test of an atomic bomb in New Mexico, where we didn't know the end result. In fact, with the Trinity test, Oppenheimer and others, including Einstein, they thought that we could potentially just burn up the atmosphere, and that was the last day on Earth. Right? And they didn't know, but they still blew it up anyway.
That tells you that we definitely have some serious growing up to do. One thing that I get really bothered with other engineers, like I'm already a technologist, and I graduated Red River College with 2 different engineering diplomas, and I've learned, and I've had some time in the industry, okay? And one thing that really irks me is people who don't consider consequences to actions, And, I understand that there's a certain need to press for technology, and I'm okay with that. I'm not anti-technology. But when we look at things like, for instance, ever heard of something called the DUNE experiment, the Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment, for instance? I don't know if you ever heard of that. It was also ran by CERN.
Yes.
Yes, what they'll do is they'll take a whole pile of charged electrons or charged neutrino particles, and they'll boost them up, and then they'll fire them all the way across the other end of the planet, where I believe that they're picked up in, I think it was at South Dakota. And here we say, it's safe, it's perfectly safe. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. And the next question we got to ask is, how do you know that? Like, if you really knew that these things were safe, you wouldn't be doing this to begin with, because that's part of the experiment, to find out what exactly happens.
Yes.
But I don't, if I remember correctly, I didn't consent to having these particles flinged out into my backyard.
Well, how would you see this is, yes, and I could not imagine living in Switzerland or France on the border, having the accelerator, so close to our backyard, where they are literally doing these collisions without knowing the results, and possibly creating, if you can imagine, creating some vortex, black hole, you know what I mean, right there in your backyard. And quite possibly all of it would be like, you're cruising around Manitoba one day and your car starts going backwards and you're trying to drive forwards, and a few seconds later you're sucked into Switzerland with the rest of the planet that gets turned inside out into a string of particles going across the Milky Way, right? And ejected.
Absolutely.
And not even know.
It's just like, what if that were you, Jimmy? Like, did you consent that to happen?
What do we do? Do we move forward as a human race and do these experiments, or do we not do them and potentially stop progress and time travel and faster than the speed of light travel, which they're doing these particles now at the speed of light at CERN, and I find that exciting.
I remember a certain quote from Tesla: technology that, destroys your home and pollutes your world is just technology, not progress. And there's a difference between technology and progress.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. And that's the paradox we find ourselves in today, Matt.
Right. Exactly. What we need to do? We need to develop more consciously. I had a massive war in my anthropology class last year to, what day 2 is like, what do we have as a problem as engineers and stuff? Well, our society lacks substance. You want to fix the world doesn't need fixing. We need fixing as people.
Okay? Matt, you're my last caller of the night. I got to roll credits, man, but a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much, and be well up there in Manitoba, my brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great conversation right there. Thank you, Matt. Behave and be well, man. Okay, you got it.
Will do. Take care.
Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarion. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Congratulations to both Pat and Chad for winning their autographed copies of the Compendium to the Emerald Tablets, courtesy of course, Mr. Billy Carson. Billy will be back with us next Monday night. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2019 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Anomaly. Anomaly is back on Fade to Black. Until then, everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tappy.